Okay, well, this will be interesting. So honestly, I'm working on my talk. Now, anybody shows up and actually wants to ask me a question about GitHub or anything like that, feel free. But I just thought it would be fun to live stream while I work on my talk for a little bit. Admittedly, it is 9:42 p.m. my time, and I am an old man, so chances of me staying up incredibly long right now are probably low. But hey, if you have a question about GitHub or you just want to watch me work on a talk, then you are in the right place. So the general script for this particular talk is going to be that we have an application. It's a Node app that one of the tests keep failing for the app, and I've been asked to look into it. And let's face it, I don't know JavaScript very well. And in reality, I do not know JavaScript very well. But I've outlined the steps that I want to follow for this demo. And I've got some of it built, but some of it not built. So that's kind of what I'm starting to work on tonight. Now, the demo repository that I'm actually going to use is this GitHub Actions Presentation demo repository. This is a public repository. If you go to github.com/DevOpsElvis, props if you know what DevOps Elvis means or why I might have the name DevOps Elvis, and github-actions.presentation. This is where I keep all of my GitHub Action presentation stuff. Now I've got an archive folder here that has all the old things in it. And then in this case, I am working on some new stuff. So that's what we're working on. So the first step in this is, let's see, I accepted that already. We've already got a branch. Let's go make sure there's nothing on that cleanup and new branch before we get too far into this. Which I don't think there is, because otherwise it would be in that particular code space. So the first step in this that I'm going to do is I want to check out the code and look at the code. So I am going to have a code space that I start up to check out the code and look at the code. Let's see, that should come up relatively quickly. Ooh, just for fun, let's go say we're doing this on Twitter. Why the heck not? Or X, or whatever it's called nowadays. And for those of you that might hear cats in the background, that's because there are cats in the background. I wonder what is it? Let's see, twitch.tv_MickeyGoose. That's what it is. Twitch.tv/MickeyGoose. All right, let's post that. Why the heck not? What's the worst that can happen? Don't answer that question. All right, back to it. So we have our code space that is currently opened up against the main branch. Now, the way I think I want to do this is the goal is open up a code space, start the code space. Now, I could work in this code space directly. I could also work running VS Code on my local machine. It works either way, right? So let's switch branches though. Let's switch to the cleanup and new stuff branch. Interesting. I'll switch back, because I can, to main. Oh, nope. I don't want to do that just yet. We are going to do this, and we're going to switch back to the cleanup and new stuff branch. Okay. All right, we're going to kill this. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start over. We are going to go back to the... Let's go back to DevOps Elvis. And let's come back over here to my GitHub Actions Presentation. Let's see, can we kill this code space from here and start over? Let's do that. We're going to delete this code space. All right, so main looks good. I'm pretty sure I've pulled everything from cleanup and new stuff. So let's clean up a couple of branches. We need to keep the please work release right now. This one we don't need. You know what, we'll keep the cleanup and new stuff branch for now. Why not? So, if we were starting this talk from the beginning, we would go and create a brand new code space. So that's what we're going to do first. We're going to go to brand new code space. All right, welcome to our brand new code space. Now, in theory, what we're trying to do is look at the branch that a developer has made. So let's go create a new branch. And we'll call this feature. We'll call this feature adding Tupelo to Haiku. All right, so let's create this new branch. Boom, new branch created. Now this would be the new branch that I'm supposedly coming to fix something on. So at some point we're gonna have to break it. Oh, wow, somebody actually showed up on my stream for a moment. That's awesome. That's nice. So what exactly are you saying is nice? I'd love to know. Do. That's cool. Somebody said hi. That's, if I don't get anybody else tonight, somebody said hi. That's pretty fun. All right, so let's actually run this thing. Now, I think Josh, one of my coworkers, actually gave me... Okay, so in theory, because we are in the code space, So in theory, because we are in the code space, oh, I think I'm good right now with graphics at this point, but I appreciate you asking. Thanks. Now the code space is basically our development environment in the cloud, right? So one of the nice things you can do about the code spaces is we could do an npm run serve. Oh, no, it didn't like that. Oh, yeah, we got to do an npm. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. Let's make sure we get this right. And honestly, I don't have a Discord for this channel. I do have my user on Discord is probably either Mickey Gousset or Mickey.Gousset. Do an npm CI. Ooh, I broke something. Awesome. Oh no. I definitely broke something. That's unfortunate. I wonder if my buddy Josh is around. I told you I don't do JavaScript, but let's see if we can figure it out. And that's because it's looking for the package JSON in the wrong spot. Oh well, that's embarrassing. This is related to npm not being able to find the file. Okay, so that's all of those. I'm not a real developer anymore, but that's okay. I got people asking me questions. All right, so let's see if we can figure this out. Could not read, because it doesn't exist, right? Because it exists here, not somewhere else. Let's see. Well, hey. Let's do this. Let's ask CoPilot. How do I fix this error? How do I fix the following error I am getting when I try and run my code. Let's see what CoPilot says. Oops. So package.json. So can I have package.json in a subfolder? And if so, how do I reference it? This is odd. So how do I modify my current code to reference the package.json that is in the Haiku source folder? Let's see, what'd this thing do? Need to build a path that will modify the start script. Oh, that's the problem. Or I could just do, see, thank you, CoPilot. Because in theory, I should also just be able to do Haiku source, Haiku dash source slash. It's going to be the same thing here though, right? Haiku source slash. I think so. Let's save those changes. Oh, nope. Wait, oh, and this should also be Haiku source slash. Let's see if that fixes the problem. So save our changes. CD Haiku. Run build. Okay, that's fine. So npm build. Well, where the heck are my tests? What they are there. no source dash. All right, well, let's take that off. Maybe I don't need it here. We'll see. All right, so just to make sure I needed that though then, if I take this out, I take this out. Let's see what happens when I do an npm build. Oh, npm run build, duh. Okay, good. So I didn't need that. I just needed to be in the right directory, duh, to make this work. So if we do an npm run dev, does it work? npm run serve, listing on port 3000. I'm going to say open that in the browser. And there you go. Okay, so I just went through a whole bunch of rigmarole for no reason whatsoever, which is fine. So what we want to do is, for this branch, and we're going to call this branch let's see, branch we're going to call this, I got to take some notes so I don't forget, is feature adding to below to haiku. And if we look at this branch, all the tests are currently passing because, well, duh, we made all the tests pass. But I want to figure out a way to not so let's do this. Let's ask CoPilot for the highlighted code. How can I modify my code to make the test fail? Oh, that's an interesting way of doing it. That's an interesting. So basically, instead of doing 404, we change it to 400. So let's think through this flow, right? The flow is going to be, we're going to open up the code space, we're going to go to the branch. We're going to have made this code change on the branch. So we need to make sure the haiku tests.js on the branch is looking for an error, a 400 error. Now, what I can do is I could then say npm run dev npm run serve. It's listing on port 3000. And if I open and look, then what I'm going to notice is, okay, this seemed to work, but it should say rain in Tupelo. So we can modify the code to say rain in Tupelo, show that it changed. And then, but you know what? All right, but if I do an npm run test, oh, I can see that I did get a test case failure. Interesting. Oh, I see the problem. This should be a 404, so I should be expecting a 404. So if we change that back and we run that again, and we look at the test results, all the test results pass. So that's good. So it's passing locally. This looks great. So I would also, in addition to make sure, look for the 400 error, I want to set Haiku back to Seattle. All right, so what I can do then is I can come back over here, in which we're not going to add the test results. So let's just rm test results.xml. Let's go back over to our haikus.json and let's change this to Tupelo. And if I do a npm run serve, open up the browser, and it says Tupelo. Great. All right, this looks great, and we have fixed the failure. Oh, but I really want to use CoPilot to solve that. All right, so let's see if CoPilot's smart enough to solve that for us. So if I open back up the tests, and I say, let's break this. I say npm run test, and I cat out the test results. And you can see I'm getting a failure. So does CoPilot smart enough where I can say, given the highlighted test and the error in the console window, what is wrong with my test and how do I fix it? Ooh, look at that. I think it might have actually done something. So it tells me I need to change that to 404. Perfect. Perfect. All right. And then, of course, we've got that test. So let's remove test results. All right, so we've modified our Haiku. Ooh, I broke it. We modified our Haiku tests. Modified our JSON. So now we're on to step 2. Now what we want to do is in step 2 is we're going to push the code to GitHub, create a PR, which should kick off the PR workflow. So the first thing we need to do is go back over here to our actions, and we're doing the composite action one. So we're going to choose this one and enable it. So we're enabling on creation of a pull request. So we're going to commit this. We will call this feature added Tupelo to Haiku and fixed test. Let's commit that. And let's publish this branch. So you see it's smart enough to ask me, hey, do you want to create a pull request? I'm not going to have it create a pull request just yet, but what we will do is over here on the left-hand side, we do have lots of different extensions that I've installed. So in theory, there we go, because I can go to the GitHub one. I can say create pull request. I've never done this from inside inside VS Code before. I have added Tupelo to the Haiku, and I think I fixed a bug. So I'm obviously going to have to speed this up because this is a talk on actions. So I have to see if this is, the direction I want to go. But we're going to say create this pull request. Oh. So one thing I forgot to do is actually make this check required. So also, before we begin, set up to-dos, create repo rule set to make PR required for this repo. That's cool. Is there a way to refresh this? I don't want to refresh the whole page, but we can see that it definitely passed. 28 seconds. Here's my deployment package. Here's all my tests. Then I can explain the composite action. But I didn't do the repository rule set, so that's honestly, but now that it's run, I can do the repository rule set. So let's go back to DevOps Elvis, and let's go to settings, and repository rule sets. So I am actually going to, this is one I don't need. So I'm going to delete this rule set. So let's create a new branch rule set so we have it. What we're going to call this is action demo PRs must build and test successfully. All right, so right now let's set enforcement to evaluate. I'm going to exempt org admins from this, which means that I can override it if I needed to. And I'm going to select specific repositories. In this case, the specific repository is going to be my GitHub Actions Presentation repository. I'm going to target my main branch. And I'm not going to do sign commits. I am going to require a pull request before merging. Dismiss stale ones because that's important. I'm also going to require status checks before merging. And interesting, no status checks found. But I have a status check. I do. Let's see if we go back to GitHub Actions Presentation. Go to workflows. Go to, what did I call it? Haiku PR, okay. Well, this makes a little more sense with branch protection rules. All right, let's do this. GitHub Repository Rulesets. Create a rule set. I want you to tell me how to make the check because that's confusing me. No, so do I gotta actually know the name? No, is that true? No, maybe might be true. I don't know what that means either. That's just weird. Let's look at that. Where are those docs? Select the rules you want to include in the rule set. When you select a rule, Require status checks. Does that require GitHub Apps? Screw it, let's try it. No, none of that matters. Great. All right, let's change this to active. Oh yeah, you gotta save it. All right, and if we go to Insights, interesting. So let's go back to settings for our repository. So that rule set is applying. So that would mean if we come back to our code space, and since we're on that branch, if we just make a change, for example, on Haiku's JSON, change it from Tupelo to Oliput. Change from Tupelo to Oliput. That should re-trigger the pull request. Interesting. I don't think it's going to work. Which means that I don't quite understand how repository rule sets work. Alrighty, so let's come over here on the super secret screen that you can't see and check something out. Let's go back and look at that. Status check. I don't want to. Oh, that didn't help me at all. This is. Settings. And. Repository Rulesets. Oh, is it because the name of the status check is actually... Oh, this will be interesting. Because it's build and test of Haiku on PR using... Did I look at the wrong one? Oh, because it's the job, not the workflow. Duh. Wow. That took me much longer to solve than it actually should have taken me to solve. That took me much longer. Well, I think I solved it. Let's find out. So let's go back to our code. Let's change this back to Tupelo. Save our changes. Do this. We will say changed Oli put to Tupelo. Commit. Sync. That sync. Oh my gosh, I can't get there fast enough. There we go. That was the problem. Wow. That took me longer than it should have. But now you can see that it is required. So what I really need to do is go back through my notes here and I don't want to merge this just yet, but hey, look, it passed. It was successful. And now if we go to settings and we go to insights, oh, maybe it doesn't update that quick. That's interesting. Let's see, GitHub actions. I know it evaluated. That's fine. It worked. Okay. Now the question is, at this level, I can disable. But I don't think at the repository level, so that's going to take me back. Takes me to the rule set. Can't make any changes. Okay, so that's fine. Good. Great. All right, well, I haven't accomplished much. It's getting late, but what I have figured out is how to make the repository rule sets work, that I need to set up the rule sets, that I need to set my code to the 400 error, have the code space recreated, and set the haiku back to Seattle. All right, that's enough for tonight. I will give this more of a shot tomorrow. I consider the Twitch experiment a success, which is kind of cool. And I guess that's all I've got for tonight.